Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing an old school combo from back in like the Armenket standard days, I believe. We're going to be playing around with a card called New Perspectives. When I find it, it's right there. This is New Perspectives combo. It is pretty janky, to be honest, these days. It used to be pretty good back in standard, because it seemed to be quite hard to interact with, but in today's historic standard and historic environment, it's a hell of a lot faster and has things like Thoughtseize to keep you in check. But yeah, it's still going to be a lot of fun, so we're going to showcase it today with a fair bit of interesting tools. We are running Approach of the Second Sun before I get into what the deck does over something like Thassa's Oracle, mostly because somebody asked me to build an Approach of the Second Sun deck. So while Thassa's Oracle is the better card, we're going to be running Approach of the Second Sun, because I don't think it really matters. As long as you have a card in your deck that says you win the game in some form or another, then you're okay. So, New Perspectives is a 6-mana enchantment, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards. As long as you have 7 or more cards in your hand, you may pay 0 rather than pay cycling costs. So, we're a cycling deck. But we're not a cycling deck in the Zenith Flare sense, which again is another card that you could run over Approach of the Second Sun. That's kind of an I win the game card in itself, but it's a little bit more sketchy because you're going to have to keep your graveyard in check, which we're going to be pulling from quite a fair bit at the time. But yes, we're going to make all of our cycling cards cost 0, and we want to get to 6 mana without dying. So, 6 mana without dying, we're going to be going with Wolfwillow Havens and Gift of Paradises, attaching these to our lands. Wolfwillow Haven is a 2-mana enchantment, which adds an additional green when the land is tapped for mana. And then Gift of Paradise is an alternative way that your land can tap for 3 mana, gives us 3 life to allow us to survive a little bit longer, and the land itself has 2 mana of any colour as its tap effect. So we're going to try and get these onto our lands as early as possible so that we're not casting New Perspectives on turn 6. We also have Shepherd Monitor as well, which has a cycling of 4, and when you cycle this, you get to grab a basic land out of your deck and put it onto the battlefield and then shuffle your library, as well as the normal cycling of discard and draw. So we're going to replace it and also ramp with the cycling, which is really nice. Again, it's another way that we can not be playing this on turn 6, because if we're playing this on turn 6, we're probably dead, unless our opponent is extremely dirtly, like one of our opponents today. Yeah, so what we're going to be doing, we've got 3 cycles. So every time New Perspectives enters, hopefully we're going to have 7 cards in our hand. We have to build our deck very specifically to make that happen, because if you think about a 7-card opening hand, every time you play a land, you're a card down. So you don't want to be playing too many interactive spells, because you want to be replacing them so that when New Perspectives comes around, it draws 3 and takes you at least up to 7 cards in your hand. And already, these Wolfwillow Havens and Gift of Paradises are going to be card downs in our hand, essentially. So we want to be able to only use enough that New Perspectives takes us back up to 7. We do have Bala Ged Recovery as well, because this format is a Thoughtseize format, so our opponents taking all of our cards is very annoying. Bala Ged Recovery allows us to grab the New Perspectives back, or even our Approach of the Second Sun if that's what our opponent ends up taking. So we don't lose to anything except for Agonizing Remorse when it comes to like hand disruption, or if they eat it out of our graveyard, I guess that would also win them the game. But there's not enough ways that they can do that for us to really justify adding 2 win cons to our deck, because we're going to be cycling our entire deck and we're going to get to the bottom of it in no time at all. So, why do we want to also go for Wolfwillow Haven and Gift of Paradise? Well, because they produce extra mana, and when they do, we can use things like Vizier of Tumbling Sands, which has a cycling of 2, or a cycling of 0 if you have your New Perspectives combo going. And when you cycle the Vizier, it replaces itself, and it also untaps a permanent, which means for free, we can untap our Wolfwillowed and Gift of Paradise land up. We want to be putting most, if not all, of these mana ramping cards onto the same land, so that when Vizier cycles, it untaps for more than just 1 mana, and then that'll allow you to then ramp into your Approach of the Second Sun while you're ramping your deck out. We do have Cast Out, which allows us to get rid of non-land permanents opponents control. Very important, actually, in this format, because there's lots of Platinum Angels and Gideon of the Trials, things that say your opponent can't lose the game, which basically nullifies Approach of the Second Sun and Thassa's Oracle as a win condition. So we want to have a cast out ready to go, at least one of them. So, you know, we're running 2, so we can potentially cycle one in the early game if we really need to. And eventually, as we mentioned, we're going to be going through our entire deck, so we will eventually find the cast out, cast it before we need to then approach for the win con, and getting rid of Platinum Angels and whatnots. We do have Shark Typhoon, another way that we can actually defend ourselves. If we get to 3 mana, we can cycle it X1 to make a 1/1, making a blocker to stop us from dying, as well as a redraw as well, so it's very nice for that. Finally, to bring this all together, because, you know, 4 Vizier of Tumbling Sands is not going to be enough, we also have Shadow of the Grave. This is a 2-mana instant that says return to your hand all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn. So again, when we start cycling our entire deck, as soon as we run out, we're going to be playing Shadow of the Grave, hopefully using Vizier and the Gift of Paradise to produce the black mana that we need to cast it. The only things that you really need to cast once New Perspectives is down is Approach of the Second Sun, Shadow of the Grave, and occasionally Balaged Recovery or Cast Out. These are the only things that you need mana for. So basically, just produce Abzan mana with your floating. It doesn't particularly matter a lot of the time, but, you know, it's something to keep in mind. You want to be producing Abzan mana when you're cycling. I'm pretty sure I don't do that. I'm pretty sure I just pick whatever I want at any given time. Because for the most part, it doesn't matter, but you can trip yourself up occasionally. You've got to be quite careful with that. But yes, those are going to be the only ones that we're casting. So when we Vizier and untap our land, we want to be using that mana to make sure that we can cast these cards. Balaged Recovery is kind of a panic button recovery, so we can pull back maybe the Approach if we got Thought Seized, or a Cast Out if we already cycled one during the game, so we can get rid of that Platinum Angel and whatnot. The rest of our deck is lands, and most of our lands are also cyclers as well. We got the Sultai Triome, we got the Indatha Triome, all of these have a cycling of 3. Again, we're going to be replacing these. It also allows us to cast everything in our deck. From Armenket Remastered, we have the other cycling lands. These are cycling of 2, but they only produce 2 mana. So we've got some Scattered Groves, Fetid Pools, Irrigated Farmlands, and then finally, just to top it off and increase that cycling count, because we need it nice and high so that we don't whiff, we've got 4 copies of Lonely Sandbar, since most of the important stuff in our deck is blue. So we want to make sure that we're focusing a little bit on that. But yeah, that is essentially the deck. If you do enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And without further ado, let's continue, shall we? This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay then, we're in, and we've got a 2-tap lander. It kind of makes me want to mull it, to be honest. You don't want to mull too much with this deck, though, because you kind of need a specific amount of cards in your hand when you go off for your combo. I mean, it does have Gift of Paradise and Wolfwiller Haven, which you can do off of those lands, and then Vizier can generate mana for Shepherd Monitor cycling. I'll keep it. We'll see what happens. Well, we drew a land. That's not too bad. It's another tap land, but it does mean that we can potentially keep a cycling land in our hand, I suppose. And if we drew an untapped basic, that would be really good as well. So we could play that, play Wolfwiller Haven, and then do some Gift of Paradise stuff. Nope. Alright, so this is Sultai. So it doesn't really matter which one necessarily I go with as far as like adding colours to the board. I'll go with Scattered Grove since it's just more green for the green gods. And yeah, we just want to get up to 6 mana, draw New Perspectives, and win. Our opponent is going to help us cycle, I suppose. So we'll go grab a basic. We'll grab I don't think it particularly matters. We'll just go for an island. I think we're cycling farmland, just because we can. Yeah, let's do that. Need to go through our deck a little bit. Alright, so Wolf Willow Haven on the island. We don't want to play any of our stuff on non-basics, for obvious reasons. And I think I'm actually going to go with the Bala Ged Recovery here. Our opponent's not going to disrupt our hand, so we won't need it to get back new perspectives or anything like that. Ooh, Khan the Great Creator. I think it's officially big red and not just mana-screwed goblins at this point. Gonna go with Grafdigger's Cage. Can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Creature cards in graveyards or libraries can't enter the battlefield. I don't think any of that actually is relevant. Right? I'm not casting anything from my graveyard. I'm returning things from my graveyard, but not casting anything. Alright, so we can go... I think we'll just cycle Shepherd Monitor, to be honest, and get a land out of our deck. Let's grab a forest. Lonely Sandbar. And I'll just play Fetid Pools, and then pass. So if we draw new perspectives, we just win. And that's where we're at right now. Okay, Khan. With their second one. He's going to go get Sorcerer's Spyglass. They can activate the cycling on Vizier, I suppose. Or even the Sheffit monitors. Stop me from cycling those. I think we'll just go with Gift of Paradise. Cycle Shepherd Monitor again. Mostly just for a redraw. I don't want to play many more cards than this. Yeah. Gonna leave Bala Ged Recovery as a castable now. So they're gonna go with the Sorcerer's Spyglass. Presumably they're going to activate the Shepherd Monitor's cycling ability. It's not a mana ability. And will actually make things a little bit sketchy for me as far as going off if we do eventually draw our new perspectives, which we're on apparently 10% chance to draw now. Other than that, there's not really anything they can name that particularly matters. It's like I can cycle everything else. If they named Vizier, I can't use my like Gift of Paradise land or anything like that until I find my cast out. And as soon as I do that, I'll just get rid of the Spyglass and then we'll go off after that. It's the same kind of if they were going with their Khan to grab Platinum Angel to say that they can't lose the game. Eventually we just find cast out and we cast it out. So yeah, they're just trying to name something that matters here, and well, nothing particularly matters except for the Shepherd Monitor, as we've mentioned. So I guess maybe they're Googling what my deck is. Might struggle, because it's not exactly a tier list. We're under absolutely no pressure as well, so I don't know what they could do about new perspectives like Meteor Golem. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Okay, that's the worst thing they could have done. It's not in my deck.
Some solutions must be built.
Okay. Whiff. Have I got basics left? I do. So again, I'm just going to redraw with my Shepherd Monitors. Let's grab a basic. Whiff again. Grab the last basic. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. That's the turn. I could have Shadow the Grave, I suppose, and got 2 Shepherd Monitors back. Not sure it matters.
My purpose is greater than myself.
Probably want it for something better, like actually returning Vizier. Godfarer's statue. Well, we've whiffed on so many new perspectives draws that, you know, we actually have the mana to pay for that now. And we continue to. Just gonna stick Gift of Paradise on this island and then pass the turn again. It's not worth casting out. A Nugan minus from them would kind of suck. I think they notice. Or even a Ghost Quarter as well, but they don't have that. If they've got like, yeah, the Ugin minus to take care of my island or something that Khan can get maybe that can do that, that would kind of suck. It's going to have to be immediate value though, because if it's like the Perilous Vault to get rid of all permanents, for example, I can cast it out in response if I really wanted to. We've had a horrible draw. Combustible Gear Hulk. I will let you draw as many cards as you like. You can't even cast it right now, can you? I think that's 4, 5. Another Grafdigger's Cage. Chop. And we take 1. So let's see, if I cycle only Sandbar, we've got 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got enough off of a cycled Sandbar to new perspectives. Yeah, okay, pass the turn again. I guess I could have cycled the Triome to try and find it. There's Platinum Angel. Yeah, we don't care about that. Already got the cast out in hand. Okay. Do we end step Triome? I don't think we do. There's a Shark Typhoon. The reason why I don't think we do is because if we do manage to go off, we want Shadow of the Grave to be able to return as many things as possible. Come on. Come on. Wow. How much does this produce? 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, well. Pass it up. Suppose I can cycle Shark Typhoon as a bit of a gotcha. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a Shark Typhoon. So we could potentially take Platinum Angel off the table without having to use Cast Out. There's Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Sharp. So I guess he's gonna go for the -3. Bye, Ugin. Well, it's nice to take care of sequencing errors from time to time. Alright, 13% on that, new perspectives. Here we go. Kinda wanna go get Meteor Golem now. Seriously? Come on. There we go. Alrighty then. So, from here, we are going to go new perspectives. Drawing 3 cards, making all of our cycling cards completely free. Jesus. Really, like, pulling teeth on that one. Alright, so we're just going to get all of our free cycles out there. There's Approach. So we're going to want to start working on our mana base. So we'll untap that Gift of Paradise land. Add some white. 24 cards to make this work. Cycle, cycle, cycle. We don't care about the sharks at all, for the record. We're actually just digging for more Viziers, and we're also digging for a cast out for the Platinum Angel. Okay, cycle that. Cycle that. And that one. Well, there's a cast out. Let's go for... Well, let's keep cycling cast out, actually. We can get it back with Shadow of the Grave. There we go. There's a Vizier. Vizier is going to... Ooh. Do a lot of good, actually. Let's play Shadow of the Grave now. Yep, that works for me. 15 cards left. Let's produce some blue and whatnot, and then let's keep cycling because we can. And then there should be another Vizier in here. Yep, there he is. Let's go for some white. Gonna cast out the Platinum Angel so that we can work on winning. Which is a little bit difficult, actually, admittedly, with the Godpharaoh statue around. I don't think we really need to do much more than what we have right now. I guess I could go for the other Vizier. There it is. Cycle. Let's produce some black. Let's get that Shadow of the Grave to return my Viziers. Untap this land. Float some mana. Usually I would have some Sheffet monitors as well, but the game kind of made me use them all. So actually we might not be alive, funnily enough. We do have one more Shadow of the Grave, actually, so I think we should be okay. So let me just go full control so I can use Shadow of the Grave, because it wants to use the black mana, and we don't. There we go. Put that back in the deck. Cycle for it again. As well as that final Shadow of the Grave. Oh, there's a Vizier. Got 5 cards left. This is where it gets a little bit spooky, because we're kind of going to have to cycle them in the right order, I think. Okay, that actually is perfectly fine, because now we go Shadow of the Grave. Pull back my Viziers. And as we're cycling for the approach, we will produce all the mana we need to cast it. Produce some white. Play another Vizier. And approach of the second sun twice over. So we managed to win through a Godpharaoh statue taxing our mana, a Khan that stuck around for 4 or 5 different activations, and we took out a Platinum Angel and an Ugin as well that could have stopped us. So we were against all odds, but our opponent made a ton of different errors, to be honest. Going for Grafdigger's Cage was a bit iffy. I think they didn't have the information really to find out whether or not that was relevant at all. It's, in general, in Historic, this is a pretty good card to go for if you don't know what you're up against, because a lot of the graveyards matter in Historic. But yeah, the Spyglass naming Ugin was a bad one. They could have gone for the Sheffets and really slowed us down. I don't think it would have slowed us down enough, though, because they were kind of durdling forever. But yeah, that Godfera statue, it could have gotten us. We were right at the very end of our deck, so a little bit, I think, of a different ordering of the cards there, not getting enough Viziers to untap between the draws. Could have done us in, actually. But yeah, managed to get there. Good stuff. Alright, we're up against a Lurrus list. We got the New Perspectives and a Wolfwillow Haven on turn 2 as well, so we can get there quite early. I'm going to keep this hand. The one thing we don't want to see is heavy aggressive decks and a lot of Thought Seizing. Thought Seizing would be, yep, pretty expected, but also not ideal. So they could take our combo piece. I honestly might have been more inclined to take the Wolfwillow Haven, or even the Vizier, to be fair. Wolfwillow Haven's the card that we need to actually do something next turn, so let's just slap that on there and then pass the turn up. Yeah, we don't really want to get Thought Seized quite a lot because we need to be, after the card draw, we need to be at 7 or more cards in our hand. So if we're not, it gets a little bit spooky. We've also, as well, got to make land drops as we go. So we're at 4 mana, this will be 5. Let's grab an island, I guess. So we want a land off the top. But it only puts us to 6 cards, so we'll have to wait. Ah! No, now you take New Perspectives. Because if you don't, you might lose. So now we need land, New Perspectives. But we've got the Sheffet Monitor to grab us that land. Never mind. Triple Thoughtseize. Takes the wrong card. Balaged Recovery. Alright, well they don't have Dreadhorde Arcanist, so getting Thoughtseized again, however likely it feels, is pretty unlikely. So we'll just go back and get that into our hand. Again, though, we're kind of in a sticky spot where we don't have enough cards because we've been Thoughtseized to death. You know, that's the way it goes. Jesus. Well, we nearly half killed them, so there's that. Alright, Village Rites draws them into their 4th Thoughtseize. If it does, I'll cry. There's Fabled Passage. We desperately need the land, because if they have Dreadhorde Arcanist here, that's their 4th Thoughtseize. It's just a natural 4th Thoughtseize. Okay. Alright, so what you're saying is that a higher power has deemed me, you know, unqualified for this matchup. Well, we do get a Censor. I don't really want to have to use it, but I will if needs must. I guess we go for the last planes in our deck with the Sheffet Monitor. Just in case we naturally draw New Perspectives now. That is unreal. Unreal. That's exactly the top of their deck that they want against combo. It's the one card that absolutely wrecks us. And they managed to get all of them. So here comes Lurrus. There's nothing in the yard for him, but it's the bodies on board that are really the issue, because that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 damage there. So let's grab another basic. Well, we did draw New Perspectives, but I think it's way too late now. Draw 3. Well, actually, maybe not, because I don't have to play anything here. They need an extra point of damage, so if they had, like, Claim to Fame, they win. Shocks, but I don't think they run Shock. Croxer would slow us down. Are you telling me that I've won? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me that I just won. Those are the words that you are using to describe the end of this match. I think you're out of your damn mind, game. I think you're out of your damn mind. Oh, I'm gonna be scratching some lottery tickets soon enough. Daddy's gonna be a millionaire with this level of luck. Good lord. Okay, so we're gonna start floating some mana as well. Mostly because we can. You do ideally want a Gift of Paradise in here, but the problem we have is that we don't have enough cards in hand. However, actually we'll use all of our Triumphs first and whatnot. We'll run out of cycles before we use Shadow of the Grave, because it basically guarantees that we win. Everything that I've cycled up until this point basically comes back to my hand. We do want to leave enough cards in our deck, though, that we can then use our Viziers and whatnot. So maybe it's time for Shadow of the Grave. Because we do want to get Gift of Paradise down on the forests. So we can float more mana. Alright, so Gift on the forests. If our opponent was slow rolling a burn spell, then that would make me laugh. I wouldn't even be angry. Okay. So now we're going to float. Untap. Let's get some black in there. Let's untap it. To cast out, in case that mattered. Which it doesn't. How much does this leave me with? It leaves me with 2, and it wants to use my Shadow of the Grave mana. Excuse me. Let me just approach without using black, please. Full control to do that, if in case you were wondering. Let's put that back in the deck. Win-con presented. And now we'll cycle until we find a Shadow of the Grave. Should get us back enough for the Viziers to untap our mana. By that point, we've probably drawn 7 cards, and then we've got ourselves a lovely Approach of the Second Sun. Just waiting for us buried deep down. They don't want to wait it out, but, you know, if the Shadow of the Grave's in there, we've won. We've technically won. There's no way that we can whiff here unless we misclick or time out. But from my experience, this deck doesn't time out very often. For some reason, the timer likes cycling. I guess it's actually because it's just a really quick, like, play it, cycle, play it, cycle, play it, cycle. It's not like you've got to click between 3 different things happening all the time. So the game actually doesn't mind you doing this combo. Nicely enough, unlike the Sultai Paradox Engine combo deck we played the other day, the game really hates that one, and it will time you out if you win early enough. So, yeah, good enough. Let's go on to the next game. Okay, we're in. We have a Balaged Recovery as our green source, which kind of makes me want to keep this hand, because then we can Vizier a double Wolfwillow Haven land. It's hard really to mull a hand like this, because you do need to New Perspectives into a 7-card hand, so the more lands you play means the less cards in your hand by the point you go to combo. But I think we've already proven that that's not really a concern in certain cases. I'm going to keep it. We'll just go for like a tap forest, I guess. Ketria Triumphs. Our opponent's on team or something. So go Balaged Sanctuary. Next turn, the farmland. After that, we'll just start loading up Wolfwillow Havens, maybe. This is going to be one of them Genesis Ultimatum kind of decks, it seems. We'll go with a Triumph, actually. That's even better. Probably unlikely to be a Field of Ruin deck, so it's not going to worry us too much that we're putting our Wolf Willows on a non-basic. Because if they are the Genesis Ultimatum deck, they want to make sure that they've got full team of shenan... Oh, we're just dead. Yep, okay, we're just dead. Alright, well, next game, it's Neostorm. I didn't realise, because they don't really play Explore from my experience, but... Yeah, so they play all the dual caster mages out of their deck, which make copies of the Neo form on the stack, eventually getting Combat Celebrant and Tuk Rubble Fort to give them all haste and an extra combat step. It's a really annoying combo, because it always goes off on turn 4 whenever I play against it, but... Yeah, let's go for the next game. Okay, on the draw, got a Wolfwiller Haven, no new perspectives, but that's totally fine. We can cycle some cast outs, I guess, while we wait. We don't want to cycle both of them, though, because we do want to keep one in hand just in case our opponent has a way of stopping us from winning the game, like a Gideon or a Platinum Angel. But I guess if they show us a reason why we don't need the cast outs, then we can fire one off, maybe. Alright, so let's just go with the Indatha Triumph and pass the turn. Plan on going for Forest into Wolfwiller Haven next turn. Need some blue mana. We don't have any just yet. But, you know, Wolfwiller Haven means we can cycle more in our turn. It's Gruul aggro. This is going to be a problematic matchup. One that I don't think we can win. Our deck's not particularly good against aggro. Unless it gets the absolute nuts. Similar to what our opponent has right now, for example. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to play the Indatha Triumph here. Yeah, and probably just cycle Scattered Groves, Balaged Recovery. I actually think I should have played Lonely Sandbar, because I got 2, 3, 4... I guess it doesn't really matter, technically. Oh, we got the island. Nice. Because we couldn't play New Perspectives next turn. Yeah, we needed 2 turns, and our opponent has proven that we won't have that time. There's probably an Ember Cleave in that hand as well, so... There's 10, 12, 13 damage right there. Yeah, shocks it in, it's Ember Cleave, right? Voltaic Brawler. Fair enough. Just as dead. Yeah, there's literally nothing we can draw now that gets us out of this, I don't think. Yeah, especially not a land. We'll just see what's on top, I guess. Vizier. See what's on top, I guess. Mostly for science. And yeah, there was nothing good. We were dead from the very beginning. Next game. Okay, we've got the turn 2 Wolfwiller Haven. We can hold up and censor as well. We're on the draw again, which is the worst place to be. But we'll go with this one. Turn 1 Forest Nothing is really nice for us. Seeing like turn 1 Llanowar Elves or Gilded Goose can be really bad. It's Gruul again, okay. But Gruul with a slightly slower start. Slightly slower, but still perfectly acceptable and bad for us kind of start. I'm going to go with the Wolfwiller Haven. It just means that we can cycle a little bit more. We can do like farmland into Censor, for example, trying to find all the things we need. I mean, I suppose we could be holding open Censor for like a turn 4 play here, but I'm pretty sure we're just dead anyway. So sad. Yeah, I mean, let's just play you out and then pass the turn, see what happens. The Great Henge. We could censor it. Does it really do anything, though? Not really. Like, it makes the things that are going to kill us slightly larger. Eh? It's hard to care about something like that. Okay. So, I really need to do Chef at Monitor next turn, I guess. Probably don't want to drop that Lonely Sandbar, though, because I think we might need the mana for it. Yeah, if they've got a Hasty Creature, we're just done for anyway. Definitely don't want to use Shadow of the Grave for that. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be 5, and then Chef at Monitor would be the 6th. So if we're not dead, we win. Let's find out. It's actually maybe just mono green instead of Gruul. Burning Tree Emissary kind of threw me off, I guess. But yeah, if they've got any pump spells, we're dead. Since it looks like they don't have Questing Beast. We're at 1. Come on. Give me that sweet, sweet victory that I do not deserve. I don't know what they could do now. I'm pretty sure there's no direct damage in green. Alright. Chef at Monitor. Guarantee me that land drop. And a Gift of Paradise to help with some life gain down the line and some mana generation. So we're going to go New Perspectives. I think with double Shadow of the Grave we can't lose. So we're going to cycle. We're going to cycle. I guess we should be cycling Chef at Monitor to get the lands out of our deck. So we can get to those Viziers quicker and give us some untapped mana along the way. Cycle. Cycle. There's a Vizier. Okay, so... Cycle. Just keep cycling. Just keep cycling. Just keep cycling till the game is done. Alright, we want to go untap the island. I can slap a Gift of Paradise on it. Is that what we want to do? Yeah. We actually could be in a bit of a spooky spot, admittedly. Because we've got 2 cycles here and I need black mana. Ah, well, problem solved. The spook factor has been removed. Because now this island produces black. I'm sure this produces black as well. Does it have a swamp? No, it does not. Okay, well, that's no problem either. We're going to go black. So, I do want to go Wolf Willow Haven. I'll just make sure that I've got what I need with Shadow of the Grave first. Let's cycle this until we've got no cyclers left in our hand, I suppose. Lord, we're so good at this. We're at 25 cards. I'm just gonna Shadow of the Grave now. Alright, and then Wolf Willow Haven, the island. Chef at Monitor, I think, has gotten rid of all the lands out of our deck now, right? Yep. Just checking. Let's go Vizier on the island. Cycle. Kind of looking for more Gift of Paradises, but we seem to not be able to find them. There's none in there. We always have Balaged Recovery to get back Shadow of the Grave as well now. Shark Typhoon. Good lord. Our deck is not stacked in a very nice way at all. We're going to produce some green. We do have another Vizier, so I can put another Wolf Willow Haven on this. That makes me happy enough to go for the island. Another New Perspectives, don't need that. Another New Perspectives. Let's do this. Decline, because I know there's nothing in there. Just save myself some time, you know. Ooh, there we go. There's a Gift of Paradise. So I'm going to produce some black mana. Gift up this island. Black mana for Shadow of the Grave. which once I find approach, I'm going to cast. So I can then vizier the island. Our opponent might be getting a little bit upset. I'm not quite sure. We could do another Wolfwiller Haven, I suppose. We've got another vizier, so I'll just go for approach now, so that I can cycle this land back into its proper position. To be honest, I don't really need to put anything else on that island, so I'm not going to. Just realized I've made a big boo-boo, which I need to rectify with Balaged Recovery. I need a Vizier, because I have no black mana in my mana pool, which means I can't use this Shadow of the Grave, but now I can. That's one way that you could lose the game, chat. Give me that Vizier. Untap you, produce some white. Untap you. It looks like we would have been okay, though, because... I mean, I didn't think they showed a Vizier in there, but I only kind of partially looked, because I'm kind of running against a clock here, so... Oop, there's a little bit of panic involved, you know? Gotta make sure I get the job done in time, which looks like I have. We draw the approach of the second sun, third card to the bottom. Play approach. Win the game. Boom. Alright, well, that is gonna do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I would not recommend building this deck, by the way. I think I might have already mentioned that in the deck tech portion. It is definitely susceptible to aggro decks, as maybe showcased by the fact that we've won on 1 health too many times today. But, you know, we also managed to pull out some wins out of absolute thin air, which I did not think we were going to do. I think we got Thoughtseized 5 times in one deck and managed to win, so, you know, if we can do that, I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't be allowed to play this game with that kind of luck. Or maybe I should sign up for some sort of Pro Tour or Mythic Invitation or whatever, because clearly now I'm good enough for Magic the Gathering. But yeah, if you did enjoy today's video anyway, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well for some more content like this in the future. And without further ado, gonna end it off here. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.